Next guest, Jarrod Egan, has spent 20 years at the top of federal and state government, and he also knows free enterprise and is fluent in Silicon Valley. He's a deputy assistant to the president, and he holds a unique title in Washington, one that nobody in Washington has ever held. He's executive director of the National Energy Dominance Council. Jarrod Egan, welcome to Axios. Got that dominance at the top of your X bio as well. So President Trump is very focused on affordability. We're hearing more and more, including affordability of electricity, which is a rising issue. You have a meeting in the Oval on energy issues. It's supposed to be 30 minutes. What happens?
Well, the president, he loves to go down and learn as much as he can about prices. I mean, so you've heard him, I'm sure anybody, if you've listened to him talk, he's talking about oil prices, gas prices. He wants to know what people are paying at the pump. He wants to know how we're selling natural gas around the world. And he wants to know about electricity prices. And so he had just gone up to Pennsylvania the night before and talked about this. And so we walk through what is the state of play in America when it comes to electricity prices. And you're going to hear a lot more about this going forward. But we really wanted to unpack it because you can look at the national average, but the national average doesn't really tell you what you need to know, because as you all know, it's about what's happening in your local area, what's happening in your state. And so if you break down electricity prices, there is a huge divide in America of electricity prices in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic and on the coast in California versus the rest of the country. And so if you drill down even deeper into that, it's electricity affordability is a choice. You have to choose to embrace policies that are going to drive down electricity prices.
Now, to flash back a little bit, you say that there is a difference in red state policy, blue state policy,
100%.
Going back 5-6 years.
Yeah, so if you look at kind of the red states and the blue states, the price of electricity in the blue states is significantly higher than the red states.
Well, those are mostly more urban states, bigger states.
They're urban states, but it goes to what policy choices have you made? So if you are investing in gas pipelines and you have the flow to get low power sources, then your electricity prices are lower. And so if you've invested in intermittent sources, they're more expensive, they don't run all the time, and so your prices are higher. So this is what we're looking at now. And so even despite that, I mean, we're trying to get infrastructure built. For example, you got natural gas in Pennsylvania. One of the highest prices of electricity in the country is Northeast and New England. Get the gas from Pennsylvania up into New England will lower prices in New England. So there are policies that the president has been pushing and trying to get forward in order to drive down everybody's electricity prices. At the same time, it's good on oil, it's good on gas, and it's good for everybody who lives in those communities to have lower electricity prices. So that's the divide that's happening now. It is a choice. If you're embracing the policies that the president has been pushing, you probably have lower prices right now. If you've been against that, then you need to reverse course and get into what is driving low-cost coal, natural gas, the access to these two things, and the pipelines and the infrastructure are going to drive down your electricity. And then obviously we're embracing nuclear as well. That's a longer-term thing. That's a policy decision that your state and your locality can make. That's going to be a long-term big bet that's going to help drive down electricity prices.
Okay, so let's take three things in order. We'll start with the oil and gas. The president often points to oil and gas coming down. I just took a look on the way over here. AAA's average for a regular price of a gallon of gas is $2.94. A month ago was $3.07. A year ago was $3.02. What can we learn from the decline in energy, in gas and oil prices that could help you in your effort next year to bring down electricity prices?
Yeah, well, it's cutting out the bureaucracy, cutting out the regulation, and driving innovation. Those are the things that helped drive down the oil and gas prices. And so when you have to spend so long on permitting and fighting legal battles, and permits that take 2 years that now are taking 2 weeks to get done when it comes to oil and gas, that's the same kind of urgency that we want to put forward across the board. And so again, I go back to, it all comes down to infrastructure. If you can't get the permitting done to do the infrastructure, or you're constantly fighting legal battles, that drives up the cost of everything. And so the whole reason the president created the Energy Dominance Council is to have a group in the White House that can look across the board at the bureaucracy and say, all right, let's get rid of the red tape in the bureaucracy. Let's move these projects. If something can be permitted faster, let's get it permitted faster. And the other thing we're working on with legislation is, if we can do something that can protect these projects from the frivolous lawsuits so that they can move forward. So it's the lawsuits that grind these things to a halt. It's the American people that are getting hurt by this. They want lower prices across the board. Let's get the projects done and stop fighting about it in courts that is just going to drive everybody's prices up.
Jarrod, an AP story this summer headlines, as electric bills rise, evidence mounts that data centers share the blame. States feel pressure to act. What would you say to consumers?
Yeah, not true. I would say, I mean, this is a false narrative out there that the data centers would drive up.
But it's being felt by people in states across the country.
Well, where you are investing in data centers now is where electricity costs are low. So, I mean, the major hyperscalers are looking. They want to build where electricity prices and energy prices are low. So areas like the Permian, Pennsylvania, areas that have access to low energy prices, it's what's going to get the data centers. What I would say is, they bring huge benefits to the area as long as you have the infrastructure there. So it's going to bring jobs. It's going to bring more commitment to the local communities as far as costs and investing in the communities, taxes into the communities. And so it's a false narrative that the data centers drive that, because we're working with the hyperscalers so that it's not going to drive up your energy costs. What they're going to try to do is get access directly to the power, work with the utilities so that the data centers pull the energy before it hits anybody's meter, whatever's extra and in addition to what they aren't using, that goes into the grid. And so the hyperscalers are working with us so that this is not adding to consumers' costs. They want to build in areas where they can pull directly from the power source and use it, and then push the rest into the grid so that consumers' prices are not increasing.
Jarrod, how important to the energy golden age, one part of the golden age the president has promised, is AI infrastructure? Do you feel like it's an impediment or is it an accelerator?
It's a huge accelerator. I mean, we must win the AI race. And so it affects everything across the board. And so when it comes to operations, when it comes to the output, AI is going to be hugely important to everything we do. And that's why it's so important to fight back on this narrative of on the data centers, is that if we aren't investing in that, then we are going to be behind. We're going to lose the AI race. And we have a chance now. Our grid, it needs improvements. It needs to be stabilized. We need to optimize it. We need to make it more efficient. But we ultimately need to grow it. And so it's not really an option to not grow the grid and not have data centers. The option is, how do you set it up in the right way so that the data centers are there, but the consumers are not paying the cost of the data centers?
If you're in the room here in DC, on your chairs, you have a paper just out today from JP Morgan Chase, Work to Win. If you are watching around the world, you read about this in Axios AM this morning, a great story by my colleague Madison Mills, and the report is linked in there. But it makes the point, America's workforce squeeze has become a national security threat. What role can energy broadly play in mitigating that threat?
Well, I think there are things that we do here that we are the world leaders on. And so when it comes to the shale revolution and oil and gas, we are definitively the leader in that. We are so much further than the world in oil production and gas production. It's because of the innovation that this workforce has. Now, what we also want to have is that same competitive advantage on the workforce when it comes to nuclear and AI when you're talking about the energy sector. Right now, I'm seeing it ever since the president came out with his nuclear EOs earlier this year. The investment and the commitment in nuclear has just skyrocketed. And so the people are coming into our offices and saying, we've got great innovation around nuclear. We want to build it here. We don't want to go to Europe. We don't want to go elsewhere. And so that's where I think we are at the forefront, where we can really be the definitive workforce when it comes to nuclear, and that's what I would love to see us. And then obviously AI comes on top of that. I think we will be the leader in AI. We're certainly the leader in AI when it comes from the engineering perspective. We just need the power, and this is where all this ties together with nuclear and gas to also have the power to be the leader in AI.
That's super interesting. So you see a nuclear revival, or you'd like to have a nuclear revival, or how would you frame it?
No, I'm seeing it. It's happening. We are at the forefront of it now. The steps the president has taken have really unleashed this nuclear revolution here, and it's happening all over the country, which is fascinating. So you've got places in states and localities all over that are now investing in nuclear. Where I mean, the whole dynamic around it has changed because of the small modular reactors. These are not huge, massive plants that you're kind of used to and the imagery you know. So you can do those, and it can power communities, and it doesn't take a large footprint to do. And so the more we can build that into the infrastructure, the better we're all going to be.
If we're sitting here a year from now, December 2026, and let's do it, shall we?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Let's get a jump on your New Year's resolutions. You will be successful in your role if what, a year from now?
I want deals. And so we want to be the most popular office in the White House. So I want people to come in to talk to me about energy projects in your areas. It doesn't matter where you are, your state, your city, come in and see us. We want to launch deals. This past year was about getting off the ground. Next year is going to be all about ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings. We want energy addition. We want more power, more energy across the board. That's what I want to have when we sit down next year.
Your team talks about stakes in the ground.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I mean, look, the president wants stuff fast. I mean, he moves and makes decisions quickly. He wants all of this because we are competing against China is moving very fast on all the things we just talked about. We need to move at that same speed. We cannot have the bureaucracy and the infighting to stop us. He wants more power, more energy, and we're all about that at the Energy Dominance Council.
Penultimate question. The Wall Street Journal today has a story about China's burgeoning energy production and talks about an electron gap. How worried are you about the energy gap between the U.S. and China?
Well, I think that's where you've seen the moves we've never made before of being as aggressive as we have. We haven't talked about critical minerals, but that's a perfect example. The president has rewritten the structure of how we do critical minerals here in the United States. We've taken equity deals. We've injected funds into critical minerals now, and so all of this is done to close the gap with China and make us more independent when it comes to the whole critical minerals infrastructure, and we've made massive strides on that already. I'm excited about what's to come, but you've seen it. It's an urgency. It's throwing out the old playbook and completely rewriting how we tackle something like critical minerals, and he wants to do that on energy across the board. Smart brevity in your portfolio. Where is China ahead? Where are they behind? Well, we are ahead in the innovation. We are ahead in kind of an oil and gas, certainly. Where we need to move forward is on the grid, on infrastructure, and just faster. That's where I talk about the permitting process, and a lot of that is that partnership with Congress. But we need to move faster on the permitting process. One fun thing: you're a big soccer fan. Last week at the Kennedy Center, the president presided over the World Cup draw, and you were there. Oh, it was amazing. I'm a huge soccer fan. I cannot wait for the U.S. to win the World Cup here. I cannot wait for the president to hand that trophy over. It's going to be exciting. But the great part was it was a huge celebration from people from all over the world here in D.C. They came up to me. They were so impressed with everything the president had done and FIFA had done to showcase America. And I mean, all next year is going to be a massive showcase of America. The World Cup is one part of that. America 250 is another part of that. But it's going to hit cities all over our country. It's going to be a huge celebration. I'm so excited for it. We have lots of soccer nerds in the audience. Make a soccer prediction. A World Cup prediction. I think, the U.S. is going to win it. I'll be very excited for that. Pulisic's going to be holding that trophy. It's going to be great. We thank our partners at JP Morgan Chase and the U.S. Conference of Mayors.